Hello everybody and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer, and today we're going to be speaking about Newcastle United and in particular 5 strikers that Newcastle United should or could sign this summer, as it has been revealed this week that the Ekitike deal is off. The main reason for that seems to be a bit of a greedy agent trying to get, as much of a wage as possible, and for that Newcastle have now looked at him. Maybe you're starting to regroup and look at other options in this transfer window. So I thought I might as well do a bit of a video on it. 5 options that Newcastle could go for. And before I jump into the video, guys, do help me out. Hit that like button and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We're a general football channel doing general football content, but we also do lots of Newcastle content too. So please do subscribe. And without wasting any more time, let's jump into the video. And starting off with this man, Mr. Dominic CalvertLewin. I don't actually want to spend too much time on this one, though, because with the sale of Richarlison and also potentially the new Everton takeover, Everton aren't now perhaps at the same constraints with FFP with what they would have been at the start of the summer transfer window, which means this deal now, it makes kind of less sense. It means that Newcastle would have to pay a higher price tag, probably in the region of 50 million. And after last season, where obviously Calvert-Lewin only actually played 17 games, scoring 5 goals and 2 assists in those 17 games, it really does feel, after the injury problems he had, it probably doesn't make too much sense from a Newcastle view to actually go in for this one. I mean, one advantage would be, of course, that he is a Premier League proven striker, and it would be a massive steal from Everton. But you really do feel now that maybe with Everton not having those financial fair play constraints that they did have, Newcastle would have to pay over the odds. And what we've seen from Newcastle in this transfer window so far, Newcastle have been very smart and very shrewd with their money. They're not just throwing money left, right and centre. They're being very smart with what they do. And I think for that reason, it would be a good signing, but I just can't see it happening this transfer window in particular. Guys, another striker I wanted to chat about was this man, obviously Real Sociedad's Alexander Isak. The 20-year-old striker has been tipped to be one of the most promising strikers, young strikers in world football. And what's interesting about this is it would kind of meet the profile of that Ekitike deal. Of course, with Ekitike, you saw a young striker that had a promising lot about him, but at the same time had a big chance to grow, and obviously his valuation also to grow at the same time, which does seem to be a bit of a plan Newcastle are going for, which makes sense. It's a good way to run a club no matter how much money you have. The one thing that might put Newcastle off, though, is the 40 million price tag that apparently it would cost. Of course, he was linked with Arsenal in January, but we're now with the Jesus deal pretty much done. It does look like maybe another Premier League club could come in for him. Could that be Newcastle United? I mean, if they do, he played 31 games last season and he scored 6 goals and 2 assists in that time, which actually equated to 360 minutes per goal. Now, although that doesn't sound fantastic, he has a lot to offer. He's a very mobile striker. And as of January 22, he was actually in the top 10 strikers in the world for ball carrying. And, he has also been described as a bit of a poacher as well. So although maybe not the best stats for that particular season, you can see why he is regarded as one of the most promising up-and-coming strikers in world football at the moment. And despite the price tag, or maybe the price tag would be the thing holding the deal up, I do think this would be a really good deal if it's one that could happen, and already is now starting to get linked a little bit with Newcastle United. Now, yes, you are seeing Pyro, obviously from Swansea City. And guys, hear me out on this one. Before you think, what a clown, what an idiot, hear me out on this one, because I think this would be a fantastic signing. And it would be at around the 15 to 20 million pound mark. But I think this would be an unreal signing. Yes, it is a championship player. But Pyro, he actually joined Swansea City last season. It's been his first season in English football, and just the age of 22 years old, I think he's only going to get better. Now, what's really interesting is when Swansea brought him last year, you read a lot of the reports. There was questions of how much game time he was actually going to get. Well, that was at the start of the season. By the end of the season, he'd finished the season as pretty much one of the hottest prospects in the Championship. And there's a good reason why. The 44 games that he played, he actually contributed 21 goals and 6 assists. Now, as well as those impressive stats, he has a lot of strengths as a striker, which would bode well in the Premier League. And of course, we've already seen Joel Pyro tested in English football, which is good. He's a great natural finisher, both long-range finishing and short-range finishing. And he's also brilliant at hold-up play as well. You do think the quick wingers that Newcastle United are associated with, having a striker that can hold up the play really well, it's quite essential, and it's quite good to the way that Eddie Howe will want to play with those obviously pacey wingers at his disposal. Now, what's also interesting about this is in terms of weaknesses, there isn't really a lot. I mean, one thing that you could maybe say is he does stray offside a little bit at times, but I really do think he's a complete striker in the making. I think this would be a fantastic deal. I really do, if it's something that Newcastle United went for. Don't write this one off. I don't know whether it will actually happen, because maybe it's not the, maybe it's not the name that would get Newcastle fans absolutely buzzing. But if it did, I think he would be an absolute star. I really do. I rate him so highly. Another player I'm going to speak about is Carlo Gargano. Probably messed up the pronunciation there, so I'll try not to pronounce his name too much. But with Gargano, he plays as a left winger predominantly for Valencia, but he can also play the striker role as well. Now, obviously, the two areas that Newcastle are having problems at the moment is, of course, the striker area and also the left wing area, with obviously having problems with Ekitike, and also Diaby from Leverkusen. There's been a bit of a problem there with the fee. So maybe a man that could do both wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And interestingly, although he does play on the left wing predominantly for Valencia, he can play as a striker. And in fact, he's actually had better match ratings, better average match ratings when he has played as a striker. In fact, when he has played as a striker, 7.31 was his rating there last season, which obviously is very commendable. Now, he also brings goals and assists. In his 36 appearances last year, he brought 11 goals and 6 assists. And to be fair, he is a bit of a complete player. He could do the long-range passing. He can do the long-range shooting. He has got a finishing ability. I think this would be a really good transfer, and it is looking at around £30 million would be enough to get this deal done. I could see this rumour picking up a little bit more as Newcastle focus comes on Newcastle's striker option and who they're going to bring in. So maybe one to watch there. And I think this is the last one. It is Gabriel Barbosa. Now, this is a name who was heavily linked with West Ham in the January transfer window. I think there was a little bit of amusing, a little bit of a kind of conversation before the January transfer window about him moving to Newcastle United. Of course, neither of those transfers ended up panning out, but a lot of Premier League teams are interested once again in this striker. And it could be one which Newcastle United now turn their attention to. And at 25 years of age, it is estimated he could cost around £25 million. Now, this is a really interesting one because I honestly think this transfer could go either way. Of course, Barbosa was in his hot property in January. And the reason for that was in the 2021 season in Brazil. He played 13 times, achieving 11 goals and 4 assists. But actually in this season that's just started, he's not maybe got off to such a good start. He's played 7 appearances so far, and in that, he's got 3 goals and 1 assist. So maybe not doing as well as last season. But what does have to be said is he is the complete striker. He can pass, he can hold up, he can have long shots. He is really the complete striker. It's just a question of whether it would work in Europe. Of course, he's already gone to Inter Milan before, of course, at a younger age, but it didn't work out for him there. And there was also questions about his attitude. Of course, that is his main weakness. And I think that is not just shown off the pitch, it's also showed on the pitch as well. One of the main weaknesses for him is he doesn't really like to track back defensively. You've got to ask yourself the question, would that bode well within an Eddie Howe team? Probably not. You know, the team Newcastle are building is that you all fight for each other. You fight for the team, you fight for the fans, and you fight for the club. If he doesn't change his attitude, would this bode well? I'm not too sure, but it is a transfer, I reckon, that could potentially happen. Guys, those are the 5 names. So let me know your thoughts. Would you take any of them? Who would you take out of the 5? And of course, as I said at the start of the video, if you have enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you've made it all the way through, you might as well help me out and hit that subscribe button as well. And hopefully I'll see you on another video. Take care and goodbye.